Mr. Clay Schiman, how are you?
I am fantastic, thank you.
Good to finally meet you. I've been excited to get a chance to talk to you. You wear a lot of hats up there at Hillsdale High School. Let's talk about your history with Hillsdale High School first, because you're a familiar name to the people in the community. You obviously went to school there and competed as an athlete yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I graduated from Hillsdale High School in 2004. Went to Adrian College after that, and knew that Hillsdale was where I wanted to be and liked the people at the school, and just decided that this was home, and came home and actually started coaching while I was in college still, and would drive home every day for practice, and just got started that way, and it kind of snowballed into being the head track coach and a football coaching position, and the athletic directing job opened a year ago, and this is my second year, and was fortunate enough to get the job.
I think it's interesting that you're so young, and you have coaches like Lem and Felix who've been there, obviously, when you were there.
Yeah.
And now you're their athletic director. How is that dynamic working out?
Really well. That was, that is an interesting dynamic because I played for them. They were, Lem is such a great mentor of mine. And Pat Pastula, and I didn't play for Coach Felix, but certainly was someone I looked up to and has had great programs for us. And, spoke with them upon getting hired, and they understand the relationship. And I'm very fortunate. We have fantastic coaches, and we get along great and don't really have any issues.
You really do have great coaches. You could sit and have a heck of a debate about who's got a better program between Lemeron and Felix. We're not going to have that discussion tonight,
right?
But it's a good problem to have because you've got a football program with Coach Lemeron that is a perennial playoff team. Teams when you don't even think they have a chance to make it, he finds a way to get them in. And you said it. He's just a high integrity guy. The kids love playing for him, and you said that you've actually gotten a position with him in his football program. What are you doing in the football program?
Well, I coach 7th grade football.
Cool.
And I work with a couple of fantastic former varsity coaches from Waldron, Gary Kais and Fred Bowers, and we coach 7th grade together. And then I have some varsity responsibilities as well. I try to be as involved as I can as my athletic directing job lets me be.
And then, obviously, Coach Felix, the team that they had last year, losing to one of the best teams in the state in what was really a lot closer game. If you were there, you know how close that was for much of it. Hillsdale actually led for much of the first half. His teams are just so well prepared. And from my standpoint, having a chance to talk to those guys a couple of times a year, they couldn't be more accommodating. They couldn't be, just better guys to work with. Then you get to the spring sports season. Obviously, it's Coach Chase doing his thing, Coach Hankins doing his thing. How did the track situation open up for you, and how has that been now being a head track coach?
Well, I ran track in high school. My parents, I grew up around the sport. My parents have coached middle school track since before I was born, and literally grew up around it and loved it. And was very fortunate to get offered an assistant coaching job while I was still in college with Coach Pastula and Coach English. And, it just came to a time when Coach Pastula was ready to step down and let me kind of take over the program. And he stayed on as an assistant for a year. And, it's just something I really love to do.
One of my favorite shows that we've ever done here is when Coach Pastula came in. It was fascinating. I mean, the guy has a wide range of experiences beyond just being a track coach, but he was a great track coach and had tremendous success. And I just really enjoyed hearing about the sport from somebody that knew it that well, because I don't know it that well.
Absolutely.
And to me, it always seemed a little intimidating or daunting, because you figure all of these events, all of these different specialties within the sport. You talk about the field events, the different running events, and the skill sets that you need within each one of those. I mean, how do you as a coach get prepared to handle the entire breadth of those responsibilities as a coach?
Right, yeah, absolutely. You have to be very organized, and you have to have great assistant coaches also, because you can't be everywhere at once. I can't be working with the high jumpers and the long jumpers at the same time. It just doesn't, it just doesn't work. And I'm very fortunate to have a great assistant coaching staff. Some new coaches that are very well equipped for the job, some veteran coaches that help us out, and that's really the key, because you're absolutely right. There's so much going on. There's so many individualized workouts and things like that have to happen, that you really have to be organized.
Clay Schiman is the athletic director and head track coach at Hillsdale High School. What do you think the event in track is that you need the best coaching to do? Where you might have a kid who's an athlete and can kind of do okay, but where a coach can really come in and make a big difference for them in that event?
I'll say this: the most difficult thing to coach, I believe, is the pole vault, because you're asking the kids to do something that is kind of scary, quite frankly. They gotta get up there in the air, and I think there's so many different events that are so technical. The high jump, hurdling, all those things, but really all of them. They really all are. I mean, even distance running, when you break down, you have to look at the splits per mile and per quarter mile and all those different things, and you really break it down. They all have their own different difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Track's an interesting sport. I talked to Bruce Caswell many years ago about this, who is a great football coach and a great track coach. And I asked him, Bruce, if you could only do one of them, what would you do? And I expected him to say football, because that's more of the high-profile sport. He said, I would 100% do track. And he said, this level of satisfaction that he got from track and seeing the kids not just compete against other athletes, but against themselves and their own times over time, he said it was really gratifying, and I know you agree with that.
Absolutely. It's so satisfying, because you don't have to everyone on the team can have success. You don't have to be the fastest kid, the kid who can jump the highest. You get them at point A, on March 11th, the first practice, and at the end of the season, you see where they end up. And it can be so satisfying for each and every individual, and that's really something that is unique, I think, to track, and it is, it really can be a good thing for all those kids, and it's so I agree with that.
I think it's fun too, because when you're at a really competitive dual meet, you have the best of both worlds. You have those great individual showdowns. You start to look at the point tallies, and you can have some really competitive team situations as well. It works on both of those levels, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's certainly, we definitely put an emphasis on the team. We don't just think of ourselves as an individual sport, but we also have a lot of individual success and individual goals. So it kind of mixes the best of both worlds, and we try to treat it that way.
Do you think it's tough these days, or have you found it to be difficult to sort of attract players to the team and get people involved? Is that a situation that has been easy for you, or is it something that you're continuing to work on?
Well, I think regardless of the numbers, it's always something you're working on.
Right.
You always want more and more kids to be involved in your program. We're fortunate; we have a lot of strong spring programs. As the athletic director, I want the kids to be involved.
Right.
As the track coach, I certainly want them to be involved with us. It's always, it's always something that I'm always recruiting. I'm always trying to get more and more kids involved and trying to get them to see that you might not be the fastest kid in the school. There's something here for you, though. There's something we can do to help you, and you can have a good experience with us.
We have this battle all the time with kids, because you as an adult, you have the perspective of older age and more time, and you can sort of understand that you only get one chance to do this stuff, and
That's right.
you never get it again.
That's right.
And so when you have an opportunity to play in a sport like this and compete, and even if you're a guy that makes a couple of points a meet or helps out in a way that might seem underrated, as well as I do, you'll go into some track meets, and some teams won't be able to field a full complement of athletes sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you just have people participating, that could be a huge thing. So for kids to be part of something positive, something that they're going to remember and think back about fondly, it's great.
Absolutely. That's our bigger goal, is we want to have that lasting impact on kids and all our programs, not just track. All our that's the goal. Is we want to develop these kids, as they enter young adulthood, and help them learn. There's so many life lessons from athletics, and that's the key, and that's what we're trying to build, and that's why that participation. I encourage kids to get involved in whatever the sport, but I certainly want them with me running track.
Clay Schiman is the athletic director and track coach at Hillsdale High School, and it's a great time to get involved in Hillsdale track. Not only do you have a great young coach in Clay Schiman, but you've got a brand new facility out there as well.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. That thing is, our track is very nice. It looks great. It's only our second year on it. The Booster Club chipped in and helped us get brand new hurdles last year, so we've got a brand new set of hurdles, new shot put rings as well. It's for a high school facility. It's very nice.
Really, really cool. Talk a little bit about your team this year, the 2013 Hornet track team. Who are some of the names we're going to be hearing about having great success this year for your team?
Yeah, start with the guys. For the guys, I think Jimmy Felsky put a lot of work in this winter. A lot of work. I mean, he's only a sophomore. He is running very fast times already. He ran 23.3 at our last dual meet. He's looking very good. Brandon McMullen's another strong sprinter for us, who in his senior year I'm expecting a lot of big things out of. Zach Hardway on the distance side, very talented. He's a very talented kid, who has a great deal of potential, and we're working every day to tap into that and try to get him where we think he can be. We've got a great team. We've got about 31 guys. A lot of youth, which they're all working hard, and that's the best thing you can ask for. On the girls' side of things, we've got some very talented girls as well. Our girls' numbers are a little smaller, about 16 or 17 girls. Kind of a more veteran team on the girls' side, though. McKenna Thayer was a regional champ in the discus last year. We're expecting a lot of big things out of her. Anna Rushing qualified to state in 3 or 4 events last year on the sprint, in the sprints, and again are expecting big things out of her. And then we've got some strong girls relay teams. Casey Calkins and Sarah Kempa making up our mile relay right now, with Maddie Eves as well, another senior. I think we've got a good balance. There aren't many girls on the team, but we've got a good balance of talented athletes.
What are some of the meets that you have coming up next?
Tomorrow, weather permitting, we are running with Hudson, just a dual meet at Hillsdale High School. Saturday, we're at Pittsford for the Ralph Kroom Invitational. That's an invitational we got in probably about 5 years ago. We really like going to that. It's a lot of local teams, a lot of good competition there. So we're really looking forward to that. And then next week we have a big dual meet against Onstead. They're very talented. They've got a lot of their girls team is extremely good. They got a lot of numbers for the guys. So that'll be a battle for us.
You talk about the weather part of it, and I want you to put your AD hat on for a minute.
Absolutely.
Because the spring sports have, in my view anyway, and I'm not an AD, but it seems like that's got to be a tough time of year from the standpoint of the weather and trying to get these baseball and softball games in, the tennis game that you lost today.
Yeah.
We got a call from Kathy over at Jonesville. They had to cancel a middle school track meet today. When you start losing multiple games and you're in a situation where you want to try to patch together some remakes of those games, try to get them played, how do you kind of sit down and do that? Does it get to a point where you just have to cancel some of the games and not make them up?
Yeah, it does. And I'll tell you, I was pretty spoiled last year. My first year as the athletic director, I didn't cancel one baseball or softball game. And I was pretty fortunate. This year, it's been a completely different story. Just sitting down with the coaches and looking at their schedules with them and trying to figure out, okay, where does it work and where doesn't it? Because there are some weeks where it's just not good practice to just fit in a competition, and so just trying to work with the coaches on that and make sure we're doing what's best for our kids. And if that means fewer competitions, because we're gearing up for regionals or districts or whatever the case may be, or a league championship situation, then we're going to play fewer competitions.
How does that work though from the league standpoint? Are you obligated to play a certain number of games or not?
We do need to get our league competitions in, and that's where it gets tough. We had an AD meeting today, and I was telling the Hudson AD, if we cancel our track meet tomorrow, I'm not. we're gonna have to find a place to put it in, but I'm not sure what it is right now. So, those are tough for baseball and softball. There's a built-in rain date of Wednesday. Weather permitting, of course, and lately that hasn't worked out too well. But It's a challenge, but it's just something that you got to try to make work.
You mentioned the league and a new league for Hillsdale High School this year. There's been some changes there, and now you're working out in the new league for basketball. You had some great league competitions during the course of the year. Football as well. 1 year into it, how do you feel about the new league situation for Hillsdale High School?
I like it. I think we're very comfortable here. I think there's some good competition with schools our size. The driving distance is not as alarming as I think was feared from at least what I had heard. I think it's working out very well. I think we fit in well with these teams, and I'm happy with it. I really am. Like you said, basketball was very competitive. When we came into this, everybody talked about how it's a wrestling league, and with Dundee and Hudson, it is. But it's got some quality basketball as well, and some quality football and quality volley. I mean, the girls' sports in this league are tremendous. Ida and Onset are just fantastic in female athletics, and it's a lot of well-rounded competition that is very good for us.
What is it like for you? And I'll let you go here in a minute. Clay Schiman, who is the track coach, the athletic director involved in the football program up at Hillsdale High School as well, and kind of a young man who has returned to the school that he attended just a few years ago. When you strap on that Hornet shirt and put that Hornet hat on and go to a basketball game to do event management, or you're coaching in a football game or a track meet, there's got to be a little extra pride when you can come back home and do what you're doing now, the place where Dave and Tracy, your parents, have coached for so long. I don't know that I want to call it a dream come true or anything like that, but it's got to be really cool for you to do what you're doing. It is. It's very rewarding.
This is I've known for a long time, like I said, this is where I wanted to be, and I'm very satisfied with it. I didn't think I'd be an athletic director so early in my education career. I'll be honest with that. But I love what I'm doing, and like you said, when I get to go and represent Hillsdale, and and watch our kids represent Hillsdale, and watch the great things that our athletes are doing and the great things that our school is doing. You're absolutely right. I get a great sense of pride in that.
I know JJ appreciates you being at all the games.
Yeah.
You might be the only guy that goes to more Hornet games than he does.
That may be true. that may be true. We appreciate him a great deal. He's been around since I was in high school. Been our super fan, and we like having him around.
Clay, we really appreciate you making the time to come in tonight. I know you're really busy, and best of luck this track season and going forward into the next year.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Clay Schiman, the head track coach and athletic director, joining us tonight on the Timeout Show.